Hello, and welcome to the learning community. We are here today for improvement of our school, and especially assisting the English language learners. Many of you have a map in front of you. It's the map of Asia. And you can see clearly that it is not in the English language. It is in another language. It is in Russian. How do we begin to teach about the continent of Asia? Even if it was in English, as some of you have it in English, there are 50 different countries. And who knows, the borders could be changing constantly. But what we really want here is to take big ideas. The map of Asia is a big idea, lots of countries. And in our school, in our K through 2 classrooms, we have English language learners that are Russian, Chinese. So we're going to start big, with the largest country, Russia. And I want you to take a moment to stop and share. And think about, what do you want your students to learn? For English language learners, absorbing content is best done in portions, chunks, in parts. So we're not going to take all of Asia at once. We're just going to focus on Russia. Teaching about Russia. How are we going to teach about Russia? Let's stop and share a big idea. We need language. We need words. We need vocabulary in the English language. We need read-alouds. Russia. What do you know about Russia? What do you wonder about Russia? And what do you want to learn? This shows a global view of the top of the earth, the northern part of Russia. I'm going to focus on the northeastern part of Russia. And we're going to utilize a Russian story. And as many of you thought, there's cold weather there. And it's going to be a story that puts together a lot of things. And this is a story by Jan Brett, and it's called Three Snow Bears. In the Three Snow Bears, there are some characters. There are polar bears. Those are white bears. And there's Aluki. Now stop and share for a little bit, and we might have a little quiz about this. Actually, we're going to have a little quiz about this. And we're going to compare this story to Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It has some similarities, and we can discover what is similar and what is not. Now I'm going to give you an open-ended question. What did you learn from the story? Okay, and you orally can share your answers in your groups. And then what is the sequence of events? In what order did these things occur in the story? This builds security, and it helps for knowing exactly what's going to come next. Let's stop and think about something called critical thinking. Many times we think of critical thinking as a solution. What is the solution to assisting English language learners? At times we might reflect on this and think we need to problem solve, and we need a solution, and we do need a solution. But we also need to be reasonable. We need to reflect, and we need to make a decision. And we need to take action. Action is very important. And what is the action we're going to take? It's going to be differentiation instruction. We're going to use strategies, wonderful strategies. Direct vocabulary instruction. Word vocabulary. Visuals. A beautiful, welcoming environment. We're going to take a little reflection on this, and we need to step back, and we really need to focus on that big idea of Russia, their culture, background knowledge, and their levels of learning. In K through 2, we have higher beginners that are emerging, and we have intermediate learners. So we need to focus and think about that through our instruction. We also need to support our English language learners with a wonderful way to instruct and teach with differentiation and differentiated instruction. Now, there are things that are going to be overlapping throughout this type of instruction. Direct vocabulary instruction, varied instruction, and always remember, culturally inclusive classroom. Now, how will we do this varied instruction? We need to discover interests and levels and need to really be focused on that. We want to motivate these learners, so our design must ignite that previous learning. We want to implement with materials and we want to enhance the instruction. We might want to use some videos, some digital books. We want these to coincide to promote listening, speaking, reading, and writing. We should also be thinking about our learning objectives, and we want to have some peer groups. Those should be evident throughout the room. There should be a lot of dialogue and discussion, and you, as a teacher, should facilitate this learning. This is an opportunity for you to learn new things and for you to grow, use new skills and materials for the benefit of the classroom learners. Families, we need our families to participate. Research has shown that this is very helpful, especially for English language learners. There may be some obstacles. Parents may say, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Or their schedules may be conflicting. They may have some trauma. The thing that needs to be done is communication with parents. And this will alleviate some of the problems. So, discovering who they are and what they do, their strengths, their abilities, we need some funds of knowledge. And what is funds of knowledge? It's visiting their homes. Knowing their knowledge in the home helps to make your instruction more relevant. You'll get more response. It will be better. Background knowledge. Background knowledge, you can observe, you can discuss. You want to build a relationship with your students. The previous learning and the background knowledge, those are really important. And we want to create a positive feeling of let's jump over the hurdles, listening, speaking, but let's get these English language learners reading. So we need to activate that background knowledge, every aspect of that learning environment. We need to do more plays, dramatic play, reader's theater. We need to get into that schema, that theory. It corresponds with Vygotsky's sociocultural theory, and get them into the zone. And then the student's knowledge and the building of this learning creates students that want to read things that are more challenging. The learning community. As teachers, we need to move forward with plans because a supportive community makes these English language learners feel like they are home when they enter the school. They feel good about it. As global citizens, we share the earth. So we must instill listening, speaking, reading, and writing to every student. Thank you for coming. I want all of us to collaborate and continue on all this type of learning to create an environment that is inclusive and beautiful and helpful. If there are any questions, I have my information available. We can have a conversation, and I'd love to speak. Thank you very much for coming.